Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you with a message of transformation, a message that can change the very course of your life. It is time for us to break free from the habits and patterns that have kept us shackled to a life of limitation. The first step toward prosperity is not found in the world around you, but in the world within you. It begins with changing the way you think, the way you see your circumstances, and the way you act in every area of your life. We must stop doing what poor people do. I'm not talking about financial poverty alone, but the poverty of mindset, of vision, and of purpose. I'm talking about the habits that bind people to mediocrity and hold them back from the greatness that is already within them. Today, let's shift our thinking. Let's stop doing what poor people do and start doing what successful people do. Because your destiny is not determined by where you started, it's determined by what you do. Success begins with a vision. Vision is the ability to see the future before it happens, to picture a life of greatness and not just a life of survival. Poor people often focus only on the present. They live in the now, struggling to get by, always concerned with immediate needs. But the prosperous think ahead. They envision what could be, not just what is. They see opportunities where others see obstacles, and they never stop dreaming. The question I want to ask you today is, what do you see? Do you see your current situation as the final chapter of your life, or do you have a vision for something greater? Vision is the compass that guides you through life's storms. If you don't have a vision, you'll never leave the shore. One of the biggest traps that keep people in poverty is the habit of making excuses. I don't have enough resources. I don't have the right connections. I wasn't born into the right family. These are the cries of the unsuccessful. But successful people, those who rise above their circumstances, don't blame the world around them. They take full responsibility for their actions. They understand that the quality of their life is directly tied to the decisions they make. If you want to change your life, stop making excuses. Take ownership. When you take responsibility, you take control of your destiny. Time is your most valuable asset, and poor people often waste it. They squander their hours on things that don't matter: idle gossip, pointless distractions, mindless entertainment. But successful people know that time is not to be wasted, it is to be invested. Every minute counts. Every hour spent in pursuit of your goals is an hour that propels you towards success. The disciplined person understands that time is the one thing that, once lost, can never be recovered. Make the most of every day. Use your time to build your dreams, not just to fill the day with distractions. The fear of failure holds many back from achieving greatness. Poor people often avoid risk because they fear the unknown. They play it safe. But the successful are those who embrace risk-calculated risk. They understand that every major achievement in life requires stepping out of the comfort zone, facing fear, and doing it anyway. If you never take a risk, you'll never know the heights you can reach. Yes, you might fail along the way, but failure is not the end, it's just a lesson on the path to success. Don't be afraid of failure. Be afraid of never trying. Many people settle. They settle for mediocrity in their careers, in their relationships, and in their personal growth. But if you want to break free from the poverty mindset, you must stop settling for less than your best. The successful do not settle. They strive for excellence in everything they do. They constantly push themselves to become better, to learn more, to do more. Excellence is not a destination, it is a habit, a standard that you set for yourself in every area of your life. Don't settle for anything less than what you know you are capable of. Strive for excellence and let that standard guide every decision you make. The road to success is not easy. It requires discipline, courage, and the willingness to change. But I am here to tell you that the life you desire is within reach if only you stop doing what poor people do. Stop thinking small. Stop making excuses. Stop wasting time. Stop fearing failure. Stop settling for less. You were created for greatness. Don't let anyone, especially yourself, tell you that you can't achieve it. Take action today. Shift your mindset. Break free from the patterns that have held you back. And remember, this success is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. Choose to live differently. Choose to live with purpose, passion, and vision. Your future is waiting for you, and it starts with the choices you make today. Breaking free from limiting habits is not just a matter of changing what you do, but a radical shift in who you are and how you see the world. For many, the chains that bind us are not physical. No, the true chains are invisible, woven from our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. It's easy to blame circumstances, to point fingers at the world around us, to say, if only I had more money, a better job, or the right connections, I could be successful. But let me tell you today, success is not determined by your circumstances, it's determined by your choices, and the habits you cultivate shape those choices. Too many people live with the weight of limiting habits that keep them bound to a life of mediocrity. They may not even realize it, but every time they give in to excuses, procrastination, or negative thinking, they reinforce the very chains that prevent them from moving forward. The first step toward freedom is awareness. You cannot change what you do not see. We all have habits, some good, some bad, and it's the bad habits that limit us. But the beauty of life is that habits are not permanent. They are not set in stone. They are learned behaviors, and they can be unlearned. Consider this: every successful person you admire, whether in business, in art, in leadership, or in life, has had to break free from habits that didn't serve them. It's not about being born with some special gift or secret. It's about consciously choosing to break free from the patterns of thought and action that hold them back. It's about developing the discipline to replace limiting habits with empowering ones. And that, my friends, is the first key to changing your life. You have the power to reshape your habits, and in doing so, reshape your future. It all starts with a shift in your thinking. The mind is the battleground where victory or defeat is determined. If you think small, you will live small. If you think poorly of yourself, you will live out that belief. But if you can begin to see yourself as someone who is destined for greatness, as someone capable of achieving remarkable things, then your actions will begin to reflect that belief. Habits are born out of thought. You change your thinking and you change your actions. Change your actions and you change your life. But here's the thing: breaking free from limiting habits is not a one-time event. It's a process. It's a journey that requires consistency, patience, and above all, courage. Courage to challenge the old ways, courage to step out of your comfort zone, courage to confront the fears and doubts that have kept you in place for so long. Many people stay stuck because they are afraid to take that first step, afraid of what might happen if they push beyond what is familiar. But let me remind you, nothing worth having comes from staying where you are. Growth happens at the edge of discomfort. It happens when you step into the unknown and trust that with each new habit, you are becoming more of who you were meant to be. One of the most limiting habits we carry is the habit of blaming external factors for our struggles. We live in a world that often encourages a victim mentality. It's easy to look at the challenges we face and say, I can't help it, it's not my fault. But that mindset only keeps us stuck in a cycle of helplessness. True empowerment comes when we stop pointing to the external world and start looking within. The moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment you take control of your future. You stop waiting for the world to change and begin to change yourself. You stop waiting for the right conditions and create your own conditions. Another limiting habit is the habit of procrastination. Procrastination is the thief of time, and time is the most precious resource you have. I see so many people who know they are capable of achieving something great, but they sit on their dreams, wait for the perfect moment, and put things off for another day. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time to start. The best time to act is right now. Small steps taken consistently lead to great progress. But it's the habit of taking action even when you don't feel ready that will propel you toward your goals. You don't have to be perfect to begin, you just have to begin. The habit of fear is another powerful chain that keeps many people in bondage. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish. It paralyzes people from taking the actions they need to take. But let me tell you, this fear is not your enemy. It's simply an invitation to grow. The successful don't fear failure, they learn from it. They use failure as a stepping stone, not a roadblock. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. The key is not to let fear control your decisions. Don't let the fear of what could go wrong stop you from taking the first step toward what could go right. And perhaps one of the most common limiting habits is the habit of settling for mediocrity. Many people, especially when life feels hard, begin to lower their expectations to accept less than they deserve. They tell themselves, this is as good as it gets. This is all I can have. But the truth is, you are worthy of more. You are capable of more. Life doesn't have to be a constant struggle. You don't have to settle for less than the best life has to offer. The habit of striving for excellence, of constantly challenging yourself to do and be better, will elevate every area of your life. Excellence isn't perfection. It's the consistent pursuit of becoming the best version of yourself. Breaking free from limiting habits requires more than just wishful thinking. It requires intentional action, a commitment to growth, and a willingness to challenge everything that has held you back. It requires the courage to change even when. A mindset shift is one of the most powerful forces you can harness in your life. It's the key that unlocks doors that were once closed, the spark that lights the fire of transformation. But the power of a mindset shift is not just in changing how we think about ourselves, it's in changing how we see the world around us. Vision is the lens through which we see not only our current reality, but the future we are building. The truth is, the way you view your life today is the direct result of the way you've been thinking for years. If you've been thinking small, your life will be small. If you've been thinking limited, your life will reflect that. But if you shift your thinking, if you dare to think big, think beyond your circumstances, think in terms of possibility, everything in your life can change. The power of vision is that it gives you the ability to see what others cannot. It empowers you to see not just where you are, but where you are going. And more importantly, it gives you the courage to walk toward it, even when the path is unclear. You see, a mindset shift is not simply about thinking positive thoughts or wishing for a better life. It's about seeing the possibilities that are already before you and recognizing that your potential is limitless. It's about recognizing that what you are today is not what you must be tomorrow. The successful don't allow their current situation to dictate their future. They see beyond the present moment and use their vision as a guiding force that propels them forward. They understand that vision doesn't just help you survive, it helps you thrive. It's the difference between living by chance and living by design. Imagine for a moment what it would look like if you could see your life as a masterpiece that's still being painted. Too many people live day to day reacting to life, allowing their circumstances to dictate their choices and settling for what comes their way. But those who change their mindset understand that they are the artists of their own lives. They are the ones holding the brush, the ones choosing the colors and the strokes that create their destiny. And it all begins with vision, seeing not just what is, but what can be. Vision is about perspective. It's the ability to look at the same world that others see and perceive opportunity where others see obstacles. While many focus on problems, visionaries focus on solutions. They look at challenges and say, this is an opportunity for growth, rather than this is an insurmountable problem. They see doors where others see walls. But here's the truth: vision is not just a nice idea, it's a necessity. Without vision, you are like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly. But with vision, you become like a captain who knows exactly where they're going. Vision gives you direction, purpose, and focus. The great thinkers, the great achievers, the great leaders, they all have one thing in common: they saw what others could not see. They had a vision for something bigger, something better, and they relentlessly pursued it. They understood that vision is not just about seeing what is possible, it's about creating what is possible. It's about stepping out into the unknown, trusting that the vision will guide you and the actions will shape the reality. Vision gives you the strength to keep moving when others tell you to stop, to keep going when the path seems unclear, and to keep believing when doubt begins to creep in. But vision doesn't happen overnight. It is not something that just comes to you without effort. You must cultivate it. You must nurture it. A strong, clear vision doesn't come from wishful thinking. It comes from intentionality and focus. It comes from spending time thinking about where you want to go and who you want to become. It comes from setting aside time to imagine a life that is beyond your current experience, a life that may seem impossible at first glance, but which, with the right mindset and the right actions, becomes achievable. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your vision is to surround yourself with others who share a similar vision or who have already achieved what you are striving. We live in a world that is full of excuses for why things aren't going the way we want them to. Why we haven't achieved our dreams yet, why we're stuck in the same place. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that everything around us is the reason we haven't gotten where we want to go. We blame our circumstances, our upbringing, the economy, our lack of opportunity, and even other people. We say things like, if only I had more money, more time, or better connections, but the truth is that excuses are nothing more than a form of self-sabotage. And when we make excuses, we give away our power. We give away our responsibility for our own lives. The price of responsibility is high, but the price of making excuses is even higher. When you make excuses, you're choosing to stay where you are. You're choosing to give away your power, your potential, and your future. Every excuse you make is a barrier you place in front of your own success. It's a wall that keeps you from seeing the opportunities that are right in front of you. And the worst part is, when you blame everything else for where you are, you'll never change. You will never move forward. You'll keep cycling through the same problems, and you'll keep asking the same questions, all while the world moves on without you. But when you choose to take responsibility for your life, when you stop making excuses and begin to own your journey, that's when things change. That's when the power of transformation is unlocked. Taking responsibility means understanding that where you are right now is a result of the choices you've made up until this point. It's not about blaming yourself for the past, but recognizing that you have the power to choose differently moving forward. The future is not dictated by your past mistakes or circumstances. It is shaped by the decisions you make today. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common: they stopped making excuses. They didn't wait for the perfect conditions, and they didn't wait for someone to hand them a silver spoon. They saw where they were, acknowledged their limitations, and then made a decision to do something about it. They didn't blame their situation, they took responsibility for it. They understood that success is not about waiting for the world to change. It's about changing yourself, making the choices that move you closer to your goals, regardless of what is happening around you. Responsibility is the foundation of success. And when you take ownership, you take control of your future. When you stop making excuses, you step into your own power. You stop allowing life to happen to you, and you stop making life happen for you. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances, and you start seeing yourself as the architect of your own destiny. Responsibility means you own both your victories and your failures. It means that when something goes wrong, instead of looking for someone or something to blame, you look within and ask, what could I have done differently? You take the lesson, adjust, and keep moving forward. That's the mindset of a winner. But here's the hard truth: responsibility isn't easy. It's not always comfortable, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes courage to face the truth about where you are, to stop pointing fingers, and to take full accountability for your life. It's so much easier to blame circumstances, to say, I didn't have the right upbringing, or I don't have enough resources. But what if I told you that your current circumstances are not your destiny? What if I told you that your future is not determined by the things you can't control, but by the things you can? When you take responsibility, you stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones. Life will never be free from challenges. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, and disappointments. But when you stop making excuses, you begin to see each challenge as an opportunity for growth. Each setback is not a failure, it's a lesson that gets you closer to where you want to be. The successful understand that adversity is part of the journey, and they don't let it derail them. They learn from it. They adapt. They adjust. And they keep moving forward. Responsibility is also about taking full ownership of your time. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, and how? Time is the one thing in this world that you cannot get back. Once it's gone forever. And yet, we often treat it as if it's limitless, squandering it on distractions, waiting for the right moment, or indulging in things that do not move us closer to our goals. We tell ourselves we will get to it tomorrow, next week, or sometime in the future, but the truth is, time waits for no one. Every moment we waste is a moment we'll never recover. And when we waste time, we waste our potential, we waste our future, and we waste the opportunity to become the person we are capable of being. Think about the time you have right now. It's a precious gift, and how you use it will determine whether you thrive or merely survive. Time is the most equal resource in the world. Whether you're rich or poor, young or old, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't how much time they have, it's how they use it. Every day we have a choice. Will we use our time wisely to invest in our dreams and our goals? Or will we waste it on the fleeting pleasures and distractions that don't add value to our lives? The truth is, time is the foundation of all success. Without the discipline to manage time effectively, you will always find yourself scrambling, always feeling like you're falling behind, always thinking there's just not enough time in the day. But the key is not in having more time, it's in making better use of the time you have. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Discipline says, I will focus on what matters even when it's hard. I will stay committed to my goals even when distractions arise. I will use my time not to simply fill the hours, but to shape my future. Imagine for a moment if you took your time as seriously as you take your money. You wouldn't just spend money without a plan, without a budget, without thought for your future. You would invest it wisely, you would be strategic with it, and you would make every dollar count. Yet most people spend time with far less consideration. They give it away freely, without thought, without strategy. We get caught up in the urgent tasks that don't matter, and we let the important things slip away. And as we do, the days turn into weeks, the weeks into months, and the months into years, and before we know it, we look back and realize we haven't accomplished nearly what we set out to do. But it doesn't have to be that way. The difference between those who live their dreams and those who merely dream of living is the discipline to manage their time. It's about choosing to focus on what will move you forward and cutting out the distractions that hold you back. It's about waking up with intention, setting goals, and executing them with the urgency they deserve. It's about understanding that every hour, every minute, and every second counts. And if you want to make your life count, you have to stop wasting time. Discipline is what makes the difference between a dreamer and a doer. A dreamer is someone who talks about what they want to do but never gets started, always waiting for the perfect circumstances, always procrastinating. A doer is someone who takes action now, who doesn't wait for the perfect moment because they know that the perfect moment doesn't exist. A doer makes a decision and then uses their time with purpose. They wake up each day with a plan and they use every moment to move closer to their goals. The beauty of discipline is that it compounds. The small choices you make every day to use your time wisely, to stay focused on your goals, to push through distractions. These choices may seem insignificant at first, but over time they add up. Little by little, you build momentum. Day by day, you get closer to the person you are meant to be. And soon what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. Success is not about huge leaps. It's about consistency. It's about making better use of your time than the next person. About doing the work when no one is watching, about choosing discipline over distraction. It's easy to think that time is something we can control, that we can push things to tomorrow or next week. But the reality is time is always in motion and it doesn't stop for anyone. The years will pass whether you take action or not. The question is, when you look back, will you be proud of how you spent your time? Will you see the fruits of your labor in the life you've built, in the dreams you've achieved? Or will you look back with regret, wishing you'd made better use of the time you had? Success is not a matter of luck, it's a matter of discipline. It's the discipline to get up early, to work even. Risk is often seen as something to be feared, something to avoid at all costs. We're conditioned to play it safe, to keep our feet firmly planted in the familiar, and to avoid stepping outside our comfort zones. But here's the truth: every single breakthrough, every moment of growth, every success you admire was born from someone's willingness to take a risk. Every great achievement has required a step into the unknown, a decision to embrace uncertainty, and the courage to take bold action in the face of fear. The people who change the world, the ones who shape the future, are not those who stand on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment. No, they are the ones who step forward, who dare to move before the road is clear, who take the first step. Even when they can't see the whole staircase. It is those who are willing to risk failure, rejection, and discomfort who ultimately succeed. You see, risk is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. Risk is the doorway to growth. Without risk, there is no progress. Without risk, there is no innovation, no new ideas, no breakthrough moments. If you only do what is safe, if you only stick with what you know, you'll never move beyond where you are. You'll never discover the potential that lies hidden inside of you, waiting to be unlocked. Every dream you have, every goal you set requires you to take a risk. When you start a new business, you risk failure. When you pursue a new relationship, you risk heartache. When you step into a new career, you risk rejection. But every single one of these risks is also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to discover new strengths within yourself. The only true failure is never trying at all, because without action, without stepping into the unknown, there is no chance for success. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting in spite of fear. When you take a risk, you may feel fear, doubt, and uncertainty, but it's those who choose to move forward despite those feelings who find success. Fear is a natural part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to control you. The question is, what are you willing to do despite the fear? Are you going to let fear hold you back, or are you going to use it as fuel to propel you forward? Risk is not just about taking wild chances or jumping into the unknown without preparation. It's about calculated action. It's about having a vision for where you want to go, and then having the courage to take the first step even when you don't have all the answers. There will always be a level of uncertainty in anything worthwhile, but that's what makes it exciting. The greatest rewards in life come to those who are willing to put themselves out there, who trust in their own abilities, and who keep moving forward no matter what. Think about the risks you've already taken in your life, even the small ones. When you learned to ride a bike, there was a risk of falling. When you learned to swim, there was a risk of sinking. When you asked someone to marry you, there was a risk of rejection. But you did it anyway. Why? Because you understood that without taking that first step, you would never reach your goal. You would never get to where you wanted to go. And every risk you take brings you closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Risk doesn't always mean making huge leaps. Sometimes it's just about taking small, consistent steps towards something you desire, even when you don't feel ready. The truth is, you will never feel fully ready. There will always be an element of doubt, an element of fear, but that's what makes it a risk. If you wait until you feel 100% ready, you will be waiting for a very long time. Bold action is about taking that step, even when you feel uncertain. It's about trusting that even if things don't go as planned, you will learn, you will grow, and you will get closer to where you need to be. Those who avoid risk are often the ones who settle for mediocrity. They play it safe, they stay comfortable, and they never discover their true potential. But the extraordinary lives, the ones that inspire us, that make a mark on the world, are lived by those who have the courage to face their fears, to take the leap, and to risk it all for something greater. It is only by stepping outside of your comfort zone that you will truly find out what you are capable of. So I challenge you today to stop avoiding risk. Stop letting fear dictate your choices. Stop playing it safe and start taking bold action. Don't wait for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect plan. Step out, take that first step, and trust that the path will unfold as you go. Risk is the price of growth. Risk is the price of success. And if you want. Too many people today are settling for less than they are capable of. They settle for mediocrity in their careers, their relationships, their health, and even their dreams. They've convinced themselves that this is as good as it gets, or that this is all I deserve. They've gotten comfortable with the idea of just getting by, of living life in the middle lane, avoiding the discomfort that comes with striving for something more. But let me tell you, settling for less is not living. It's existing. It's letting life pass you by while you hide behind excuses, limitations, and fears. You were not created to just get by. You were created for greatness. You were made to excel, to thrive, to achieve things that others think are impossible. And the only thing standing in the way of that is the belief that you are somehow unworthy of more, or that you cannot have more. But I'm here to tell you that greatness is not reserved for a select few. It's available to anyone willing to refuse mediocrity, anyone willing to strive for excellence, and anyone willing to push themselves beyond what they thought possible. Excellence is not about perfection. It's about pushing the boundaries of your potential. It's about doing everything in your life to the best of your ability, not just because you have to, but because you know you are capable of more than what you are settling for right now. Excellence is about refusing to accept the status quo, about challenging yourself to do better, to be better, and to give more. It's about raising your standards, not because others expect it, but because you expect it of yourself. Many people settle because they've convinced themselves that excellence is only for the talented, for the gifted, for the lucky. But that's a lie. Excellence is a choice. It's a mindset. It's about deciding that you will no longer accept mediocrity, and instead you will commit yourself to constantly improving, to constantly pushing yourself, to constantly striving for the highest standards in everything you do. Excellence is about consistency, dedication, and the discipline to stay on course, even when the journey is long and difficult. It's about going above and beyond, even when no one is watching, because you understand that the difference between good and great is often the extra effort, the extra mile that most people aren't willing to go. When you settle for less, you rob yourself of the possibility of true fulfillment. You may find temporary comfort in your routines and playing it safe, but deep down, you know you are not living up to your full potential. You know you have untapped gifts, untapped passions, and untapped potential that are waiting to be unleashed, but they won't be unleashed by staying where you are. They won't be unleashed by sticking to the familiar and avoiding the discomfort of growth. You have to take that first step toward excellence, and that requires a willingness to get uncomfortable, to challenge the limitations you've placed on yourself, and to rise above the temptation to settle. Settling for less is easy. It's easy to fall into the trap of good enough. It's easy to convince yourself that things will get better one day, that the future will somehow take care of itself. But the truth is, the future doesn't change unless you change. Excellence is not something that happens by accident. It happens by design. It happens when you decide every single day to put in the work, to put in the effort, and to do what it takes to be the best version of yourself. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through the obstacles even when they seem insurmountable. It's about committing to your own personal growth even when the world around you says it's not necessary. The pursuit of excellence is not easy, but it is worth it. It's worth the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices, and the hard work. It's worth the failure you will inevitably encounter along the way, because every failure is a lesson that brings you closer to success. It's worth the discomfort that comes with pushing your limits, because it is only through discomfort that you grow. It's worth the risks you take, because it is only by stepping out of your comfort zone that you discover what you are truly capable of. There is no greater regret than looking back on your life and realizing that you didn't go after the things that truly mattered to you because you were too afraid, too comfortable, or too complacent. There is no greater disappointment than reaching the end of your life and knowing that you never gave your all, that you never pursued excellence, that you never fully lived up to your potential. But you don't have to experience that. You can decide right now, today, that you will no longer settle for less. You can decide that you will rise to the occasion, that you will give your best, that you will strive for excellence in everything you do. Excellence is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage, determination, and a refusal to settle for anything less than your absolute best. But I promise you, the reward is worth it. The sense of fulfillment, the satisfaction of knowing that you gave everything you had, that you pursued your dreams with everything in you, that is what makes life truly worth living. When you decide to stop settling for less and start striving for excellence, you open the door to a life that is greater than you ever imagined. A life that will not only inspire you, but inspire others around you to rise up and pursue their own excellence. It starts with you right now in this moment. You have everything it takes to be extraordinary. Don't settle for anything less. So today I challenge you to stop settling for less. Stop accepting mediocrity as the standard for your life. You were not born to live a life of comfort or to play it safe. You were born to rise, to push boundaries, and to achieve greatness. The world needs your excellence, your unique gifts, and your vision. It won't be easy. It will require discipline, perseverance, and the courage to face your fears. But remember, this greatness is not a destination, it is a mindset, a daily commitment to giving your best, to striving for more, and to refusing to settle. When you choose excellence, you choose to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. You choose to be the best version of yourself, and in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. So let today be the day you make the decision, no more settling for less. You are capable of more. You are worthy of more. And with every step you take toward excellence, you'll create a life that will not only fulfill you, but leave a lasting legacy for those who follow. Your future begins now, and the power to make it extraordinary is in your hands.